Welcome back, Sculldog Radio. I know I had a little hiatus there. I did go on a little vacation to Cedar Point, which I highly recommend. This is the second year in a row that I've been back. For those of you who aren't aware, Cedar Point is the roller coaster of the United States. They are amazing if you love roller coasters. I highly recommend my top 5 list of roller coasters at Cedar Point. My number 1 ride there would be Millennium Force, followed by number 2, Top Thrill Dragster, followed by number 3, Magnum, number 4, Gateskeeper, and what was my number 5? Number 5 would probably be Raptor. So those are a good top 5 list of roller coasters at Cedar Point. Anyway, a lot to get to. Starting off, of course, with the Blackhawks. Okay, I have to admit, I was on the wagon after Game 1 thinking, we got this. You know, it 5 games, 6 games tops. Well, quite a bit has changed since then. We are now on the ropes, down 3-1. Haven't looked good, actually. What's more disappointing, I think, is the way we've lost. You know, these haven't even been competitive games. It's been really odd, the swing of momentum. Totally has shifted in the Kings' direction. Frankly, I am nervous. I don't think I've ever been so nervous in the entire season. But let's not totally throw in the towel yet. If we remember, for those of you that remember, last season against the Red Wings, we were down 3-1, in which I was in Cedar Point at the time, last year, and look what happened. We had a major momentum swing, and we won the next 3 in a row. So it's not over. I'm not here to declare it's over. We are at home. Luckily, you know, tomorrow we'll play at home and then go back to LA and then, you know, the final game in Chicago. However, I think in that Red Wings series, if you remember, the Red Wings just totally took us off our game. We sort of lost sight of the way we need to play, which is finesse and up-tempo and so on. And we tried to get more physical and sort of play Detroit's game. And once we kind of figured out that wasn't working, we ended up winning the series. Now, in this series, it's a little different. The Kings have a very high-powered, high-potent offense, and we haven't been able to quite figure out how to, score on a power play, which, by the way, it's the most frustrating thing in the world to watch power plays this entire playoffs. They have like 2 shots, if that, in a power play. It's like they're always looking for that great special shot that just doesn't exist. At some point, you just got to rush the line and just start shooting away. I mean, you're going to find pucks are going to trickle they're going to trickle in kind of by accident in a way. You just got to start shooting the puck. And I think they've kind of lost that feeling, like they're just so content on making the perfect shot. Sometimes you just got to let it rip. And I think that this next game, they just need to just relax a little more and just start shooting the puck, especially on power plays. Power plays, I mean, frankly, Patrick Kane's my favorite player in the league, but he's a good example of trying to get that perfect shot. Sometimes you just got to start shooting the puck. Just let things happen. So I'm not ready to throw in the towel. I'm very, very concerned. I do not want to end the season on this note. You know, it's been such a great season. I don't want to see us lose at home and end the season. So let's just focus one game at a time. Let's win tomorrow night and take it from there. Okay, that's going to be enough for the Hawks for now because I want to sort of talk things positive right now. And I know people are going to think I'm crazy, but the Cubs, there's a lot of positive things going on right now. They're actually winning every once in a while, which is nice to see. They beat San Francisco yesterday. They're playing much, much better baseball. Samardzija actually got his first win, which I don't know about you guys, but I was thinking this guy was going to be the first Cy Young winner with no wins. I mean, the guy's pitching unbelievably and can't get a win. Speaking of Samardzija, I was actually just reading right before I went on air here, the Orioles have interest in Samardzija. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, the Cubs are looking to trade Samardzija. Jeff Samardzija is a pitcher who has never had a consistent season. He's not able to put an entire season together. He starts off very hot and then kind of tapers off. He's 29 years old. The Cubs are kind of looking at him and saying, well, by the time we're contenders, which hopefully in the next 2 years they're going to be contenders, but maybe 3, he's in his 30s. He's 31, 32. So he's kind of a little on the old side of what they're looking for. And B, he wants a ton of money. Right-handed pitchers nowadays, believe it or not, are commanding $100 million deals. And if I'm the Cubs, I don't blame him. I mean, the guy, he hasn't put an entire season together yet. He's 29 years old, and now he wants, a $100 million contract. And let's face it, he's also from Notre Dame. That's not going for him. Idiot! So I think they're doing the right thing, and actually a lot of luck's happening too because he's pitching unbelievably. So I just read the Orioles are very, very interested in Samardzija, and the trade deadline is actually July 31st. Now, the Orioles don't want to wait till the trade deadline and have all these teams interested, so they are looking to sort of get ahead of that and snatch them up. So they're offering a ton of young pitching talents. Dylan Bundy is one of them. And actually, he's probably the most interesting of them. He's coming off Tommy John surgery, but this is a guy who was the 4th overall pick in the 2011 draft. I mean, this guy's got a ton of talent. And it's not just him. I mean, they're willing to throw in 3, 4, pitching prospects is which we desperately need. We have the hitters, we have the Baez's and the Chris Bryants, Albert Amaras, but we don't have that pitching crop that we need. Just this one trade could land us 3 or 4 pitching prospects, of which, you might get 1 or 2 that turn out to be really good pitchers. I think you got to jump on this. I think if I'm the Cubs, I'm jumping on this deal. If the Orioles are willing to give up 3 or 4 pitching prospects, I'm going after it. All in, let's get this done. So this will be kind of intriguing to see how this plays out. Now, on a side note, you have Javier Baez, who has struggled mightily in AAA this season, just totally coming out of his struggles. He was Player of the Week this week. He hit a grand slam 2 days ago. His batting average is still, only in the 200s, low 200s, but he's finally coming alive. And what the Cubs did, which I find, actually, this is one of the reasons I like Theo. They brought in Manny Ramirez. Manny Ramirez has always been known as sort of a problem player. He's been suspended and, he's had all these problems. But the one thing Manny Ramirez could do is hit. He's one of the great hitters. He just has a knack for it. If you remember, he's from the Red Sox, and Theo was part of that organization when Manny was there. So you have to kind of believe that he knows what he's doing. He knows Manny, and he knows him personally. So there's not going to be any shenanigans and so on. So they bring him in as a AAA player/hitting coach. I find this actually really cool because not only is he the hitting coach, he's also a player. So he can kind of show, kind of on the field and how to do things. And it's perfect because Javier Baez is there, and he could show Javier so much. I mean, this young kid has so much talent. He can work with him and really show him things that Javier could never get from, other coaches. he can bring that element into it. And I think this is a very, very good move. It could really, really catapult Baez and some of these other players and really show them how to hit. So yeah, so you have that going on, and then you have Chris Bryant. Now Chris Bryant, this guy is absolutely tearing the league up. He hit his 12th home run yesterday. He's hitting like over 330. If it's me, I'm putting him in AAA. Like, I would put him in AAA tomorrow. This guy's ready. I'm not saying bring him to the majors right away, but he's done his college. He's went to college and performed to the top. This guy needs to be in AAA, and I think you need to start thinking about bringing him up in September. He needs a September call-up. Get a little bit of major league experience toward the end of the year. Then next year, bring him in, put him at either third base or in the outfield. You can figure that out in the offseason. You can figure it out through spring training. But this guy needs to be in the lineup. He's ready. He's tearing up every league. Put him in AAA starting next week. Let him tear up AAA, and then in September call him up. That would be my recommendation. Probably I need to call Theo immediately.
Hello?
And let him in on the secret. Because this guy is number 2 overall pick last year. Amazing player. Needs to be in the majors. At the very least AAA. I mean, put him in AAA. Let him get a little experience there. And then, on his way. He's the real deal. Okay, speaking of that, we have a MLB draft coming up. I wanted to touch on this because it's very intriguing what's going on in this draft. This is a very top-heavy pitching draft, which is great for the Cubs because the Cubs have been lacking pitching talent. So this is their chance to sort of pick a very studly type pitcher. So what's going on is there's 3 really top-of-the-line players in the draft. It's headed by Carlos Rodon. This guy has been the phenom that everybody's been talking about for the last 2 years and the number 1 pick and so on and so on. Well, he hasn't exactly tore up North Carolina State this year. He plays for North Carolina State, and the rumors are floating that he may actually not go number 1 for 2 different reasons. One, money. He's going to want a ton of money. Boris is his agent, and everybody knows Boris is kind of a pain. So rumors are floating now that Tyler Kolek would be the number 1 pick. Carlos Rodon may slip. Now, I'm not saying he's going to slip to number 4, which is the Cubs' pick. But, oh my God, if he did, that would be incredible. The Cubs would get potentially the best pitcher in this draft. And it could happen, actually. It kind of stinks that they have the 4th pick as opposed to the 3rd pick. The White Sox have the 3rd pick. I'm not sure that the White Sox would pass on him. But you never know. I mean, stranger things have happened. So you basically have 3 really, really studly type pitchers, and Rodon is one of them. Another one that everybody's talking about is Tyler Kolek, who is expected to be either number 1 or number 2. He's a high school pitcher, doesn't quite have the experience, that Rodon has, but he also is highly rated, and he'll either go number 1 or number 2. So now you have a situation where you say, okay, what are we going to do? Because potentially the first 3 picks could all be pitchers, and they could go, number 1, number 2, number 3, and all be off the draft board by the time the Cubs come around. Well, then there's another guy, his name's Alex Jackson. He is a catcher right now, but teams are looking at potentially moving him in the outfield. So what the Cubs would do is, like they did with Chris Bryant last year, as opposed to picking Jonathan Gray, they picked the best hitter in the draft, and they struck gold. So they could pick Alex Jackson, they could put him in either a catcher or the outfield, and also potentially have a studly hitter who, also could hopefully be another Chris Bryant type player. But me personally, I would rather see a guy like Rodin or one of those pitchers slide down to number 4 because I think we need pitching a lot more than hitting. You can never have enough hitting, but I personally would really like to see one of these pitchers fall to the Cubs. So I guess with all this losing, losing does, like with the Blackhawks for years, it does build your farm system, and some of these guys are going to work out. And there's a lot of positives going on with the Cubs. So I just want to emphasize that. It's not all doom and gloom. I know they're record-wise, they're the worst team in baseball. But they have a lot of positives going on. I like the Manny Ramirez signing as a player coach. Chris Bryant, again, tearing things up. Baez coming around. Jorge Soler hasn't quite worked out so far. He's still hurt. He'll be back, though. And he only had like 7 at-bats or something. He hasn't really played a whole lot. But I have faith that he'll be another one that could potentially be a real stud. Albert Almara over at Daytona. He's had a little bit of a slow start. He's hitting the 270 range, but he's young. He's 20 years old. Plenty of time to get going. Then we got this draft coming up where you could potentially get another really high value player. And then let's face it, this year we're not going to be going anywhere, so we can trade Samardzija, get 3-4 pitching prospects from the Orioles or whoever. Get them in the farm system. We have C.J. Edwards from last year's Garza deal. Things are looking promising. So don't give up on the Cubs. There are a lot of things going on. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this installment of Sculldog Radio. And more to come, I promise. I'm not going to go on another hiatus for a while. And I look forward to talking some more sports. Hopefully you'll continue joining in.